Everyone is chasing the promise of multi-cloud. It sounds amazing, right? The freedom to pick the best services, dodge those vendor traps, and stay up and running no matter what. But as this maze suggests, the path to get there is, well, it's full of twists and hidden complexities. So in this explainer, we're going to give you the map to navigate it.
So, we really have to start with the big question. Is multi-cloud actually the solution we're all looking for, or is it secretly the problem in disguise? I mean, it promises all this freedom, but way too often, it just ends up delivering a whole lot of complexity and costs you didn't see coming. Let's break down why that happens.
The dream itself is pretty simple, right? You get to use the best of the best services from any provider you want. You avoid getting locked into one company's way of doing things. You boost your resilience, so an outage in one place doesn't take you down. And you can optimize costs by actually shopping around. That's the strategic advantage every single business is chasing. But yeah, that dream runs smack into a huge wall. And this is the part that trips everybody up, the vendor lock-in trap. It's the hidden catch that can completely undermine that entire multi-cloud promise. This quote from Percona just absolutely nails it. You can stick your applications in containers, make them stateless, and you can move them around pretty easily. But your data, oh, that is a whole other story. It's like it has its own gravity. And this slide just illustrates that divide perfectly. On one side, you've got your stateless applications. Think of them like nimble little speedboats, free to zip around wherever the wind blows. But on the other side, that's where you find your databases, your stateful workloads. And they're like massive cargo ships, anchored in one port, tied down by proprietary APIs, unique tools, and all these deeply integrated services. Trying to move them isn't just hard, it's a monumental task. So how do you break free from that? Well, it's not about finding some magic tool that fixes everything. It's about building on the right foundation from the very beginning. We need to adopt a few core architectural principles that are designed from the ground up for true portability. This slide takes a pretty complex idea and boils it down into 3 really powerful pillars for any multi-cloud platform. First up is modularity. Think of it like building with Legos. You can swap out any service from any provider without having to tear down the whole thing. Second, there's federated governance, which basically gives you a single control plane to manage all the chaos. And third, resilience, making sure your system can handle an outage in one cloud by just adapting on the fly. These are not just buzzwords, they're literally the blueprint for freedom. And hey, this isn't just some abstract theory. When tech innovators were actually surveyed about what they prioritize for their multi-cloud architecture, look at what floats to the top. Modularity and resilience are huge pieces of the pie. This shows you that the industry is laser-focused on building systems that are flexible and robust by design. Now, to turn those principles into something real, you need these 5 core components. Think of the multi-cloud orchestrator as the brain of the operation, managing all the workflows. The policy engine is the rulebook for security and, importantly, costs. Then you have the crucial abstraction layer, which is like a universal translator that makes different clouds speak the same language. And finally, the telemetry and security modules give you the eyes and the guards you need to operate safely. Together, they create a truly adaptive system. Okay, but even with the most perfect architecture in the world, there's another trap just waiting for you: the budget. A sprawling multi-cloud environment can so easily lead to runaway spending, and that's where something called FinOps comes into play. And here's exactly why that kind of discipline matters. Check out this number. Research shows that financial institutions that have mature FinOps, that's financial operations, practices, saw their costs drop by an average of 26.4%. That is a massive, tangible benefit you get just from getting your financial house in order. So how are they doing it? Well, it's not just one magic trick. It's a whole combination of smart strategies. Simple things, like just right-sizing your instances, can cut costs by over a third. And for workloads that aren't mission-critical, using spot instances can lead to incredible savings. We're talking over 70%. The real key is applying the right strategy to the right job. But here's the thing, none of those strategies work without this one absolutely critical element: visibility. This chart makes it crystal clear. The more visibility you have into your spending, the better your tagging is, the more money you save. It's really that simple. You just cannot optimize what you can't see. So we've tackled the architecture and we've tackled the finances. Now let's circle all the way back to that really thorny problem. How do we set our data free from vendor lock-in? The key technology to unlock all this data portability is Kubernetes. It creates this one consistent operating layer that works across any cloud. But to make it work for databases, you need four key things: storage abstraction, so you can break free from those proprietary APIs; a reliable network, so you can replicate data without a hitch; consistent automation, so you can deploy anywhere with a single command; and unified observability, so you have one dashboard for the whole shebang. Now, the secret sauce that makes all of this practical is something called a Kubernetes operator. But, and this is a big but, not all operators are created equal. Proprietary operators might seem easy at first, but they often just swap one kind of lock-in for another, tying you into their specific ecosystem. Real freedom, real flexibility, that comes from open source operators.
And don't for a second think that choosing open source means you're sacrificing features. We're talking about enterprise-grade operators, like the ones from Percona, that deliver everything you'd expect from a pricey managed service: automated upgrades, crucial point-in-time recovery, built-in high availability, and complete encryption. You get all the power and reliability with absolutely none of the lock-in.
All right, so let's pull all of this together into a final blueprint. We've gone from the big promise and the hidden perils of multi-cloud, through the core principles of a solid architecture, the financial discipline you need, and finally, the technical tools that actually set your data free. This is your strategy for success.
And all of that brings us to the final question, the one you should really be asking yourself. When you look at your own systems, are they architected for the convenience of just one vendor today? Or are they built on a solid, open-source foundation that prepares you for any cloud, any workload, and any future?